Brother, you're not the man your father was. Did you know that the average man today has 17% less testosterone than his father did at the same age? That's right, a widely cited study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism found that testosterone levels have been silently plummeting year after year, dropping about 1% annually since the late 80s. Alarming? Hell yes. Surprising? Absolutely not. Could it be our diets? Probably. Our high levels of stress? For sure. Our sedentary lifestyles, meaning less movement? Sure. But what about the overwhelming wave of internet porn? My name is Danny Banchev. I'm the founder of the Off Porn Academy, and today I want to share with you how porn destroyed this generation's level of testosterone and how semen retention can save us back to masculinity. So what is semen retention? There are many definitions out there, but here's the simplest one for me. It's simply the practice of avoiding ejaculation to preserve and harness, meaning use, sexual energy. You can do it for an undetermined period of time or a predetermined period of time. I call the second option intermittent semen retention. The vast majority of men who've tried experiencing with this practice report many benefits, including increased creativity, productivity, energy, vitality, confidence, charisma, that type of stuff. Ancient Eastern wisdom has been talking about that stuff for centuries. But what does modern science say about it? Could it also have a measurable impact on testosterone? Let's look at the data. By the way, guys, we'll go right back to the video in a few seconds, but I've noticed that 90% of the people watching me are men. So if you're a man who's struggling with porn addiction and you're just tired of feeling like you're not in control of your own actions, then you can join the #1 porn addiction recovery brotherhood in the world. It's called the Off Porn Academy. We'll be right there waiting for you on the other side. The link is in the description. All right, right back to the video. A 2003 study discovered a staggering 145.7% increase in testosterone levels on day 7 of semen retention. Pretty freaking impressive, right? But this spike doesn't last forever because then it comes back to baseline. What's even more surprising to me is that, as you can observe on the image I'll put on the screen, there's also a slight increase right after ejaculation in the first day. That was proven in later studies as well. Now, what's also very important to note with testosterone, which I'm pretty sure not a lot of you know because I just discovered it a few weeks ago, is that just as women have this monthly cycle of hormones, we have a 24-hour cycle of male hormones. So for basically all of us, no matter how much testosterone we naturally have, that testosterone peaks in the early morning and then kind of goes down during the rest of the day, and then its lowest point is in the evening right before going to sleep, right? And then it gradually goes up and then a peak again in the beginning of the morning, and so it goes. Now, here's why this is important. Higher testosterone levels are known to increase agitation in the form of libido, drive, competitiveness, and alertness. That would explain why most of us can experience peak focus in the morning, give the least amount of fucks about anything in the evening, and face the most nerve-wracking freaking anxiety in the middle of the night where we overthink our whole life. Feels good to know you're not alone, doesn't it? So here's why all of that stuff should matter to you. #1, your experience of life is directly correlated with the hormones in your brain. Like the way you feel stuff and you experience stuff is through hormones. Our minds influence these hormones, but the experience is felt through the hormone. And so there's a saying, leaders anticipate, losers react. So when you understand your testosterone and semen retention cycles, you can start anticipating the highs and lows instead of always being surprised by them and reacting. Instead of letting agitation, libido catch you off guard, you'll be prepared and actually make the most out of each phase of the day and of the weekly cycle of semen retention. Awareness, my friend, is the key. #2, you now have access to the greatest testosterone optimization tool. How cool would it be to have a completely free, 100% chemical-free, drug-free, natural way to increase your testosterone levels by 145.7% when it matters most? That's the power of semen retention. It's been backed up by science. So now that you have all this information, what should you do about it? Try it out, especially if you've never practiced semen retention before. You have nothing to lose. Worst case scenario, you experience nothing different and you eventually forget about this video. Best case scenario, you discover a life-changing tool that you can keep in your toolbox forever. forever. Are you in? Let's cover the 3 steps of semen retention for beginners. Step number 1, make a personal assessment. Grab a piece of paper right now or open the notes app on your phone and note down how often you tend to ejaculate on average. Is it 3 times per day, once every 3 days, once per week? You know it best. And I'm not talking about your peak when like you're really using all of your willpower and your discipline. I'm talking about what was your natural tendency before you even tried to quit. Good. So now that you got it, triple that time gap. So if it was 3 times per day, now it's 1 time per day. If it was 1 time per day, now it's every 3 days. And once you have that new time gap, take it and schedule a moment in your calendar. For example, if your new time gap is every 3 days, schedule a moment in your calendar right now in 3 days where you can do whatever the fuck you want with your dick. I know it sounds so counterintuitive right now. You've probably never even seen this perspective, but stay with me. Stay until the end. I promise it's worth it. In all cases, when you schedule that moment, make it achievable enough so you're absolutely certain you can do it, but uncomfortable enough so you know it's gonna get you out of your comfort zone. Now, step number 2, that's when it gets interesting. Turn it into a game. Make it an absolute non-negotiable, like whatever it takes to not ejaculate until that moment in your calendar. Make it a challenge, just like that one time you ran your first 5 kilometers or your first 10 kilometers despite how uncomfortable it was, or the first time you took a cold bath or a cold shower, or when you did the 75 hard challenge, or when you set a timer and you worked for a project you've been procrastinating for days, or you studied for an exam, you put a timer of like 90 minutes and you stick to it. The same type of vibe. And if you've never done any of that stuff I just mentioned, start by doing that first. If you're still not convinced from that approach, here are all the benefits you're gonna get from it. Self-awareness, discipline, patience, presence, and impulse control. All traits of an incredibly meaningful, fulfilling, and successful life. According to scientific studies, it will also optimize your levels of dopamine and testosterone, which will result in increased energy, mood, motivation, confidence, courage, and focus. All traits of very high value men. And last but not least, for my spiritual believers out there, it will also boost your creative power since you're literally transmuting sexual, creative life energy. That energy literally has the power to create life, and you're transferring that into your goals and your vision. Are you starting to get it now? Step number 3, you focus on slow but steady progress. Like once you achieve that initial milestone, celebrate the shit out of it. We're talking get so much pleasure that you basically get sick of it, and then raise the bar by just 1 day. For example, if your last run was 4 days, now your next one is 5 days. And you keep on raising the bar as you make progress on the journey. Remember, my friend, the goal is for you to be in control and to progress. You cannot improve what you don't measure. No matter what you do, make sure it's your choice. You are way better consciously masturbating every few days than unconsciously losing control and relapsing every few weeks. Trust me, your self-image and your mental health will be thanking you. All right, my brothers, so remember, semen retention isn't about suppressing your sexuality. It's about mastering it. By understanding and working with your body's natural cycles, you can unlock levels of focus, creativity, vitality, energy, confidence, courage you never even knew you could have. So if you're a man and you're ready to give it a shot, you're ready to master semen retention, then you can join us in the Off Porn Academy, the #1 brotherhood where we master sexual discipline, build unshakable confidence, and attract everything we've ever wanted as a result. The link is in the description. We'll be right there waiting for you on the other side. Other than that, thank you all so much for listening. I'm so grateful for y'all. I'm gonna do the cliche thing where it's like, hey, if you enjoyed it, you can subscribe, but in all cases, I'll be super grateful for you anyway. So I'll see you here soon. Take care. Bye-bye.